Mr. and Mrs. Nwafọ gazed at their newborn baby with immense joy. She was a beautiful child, radiating a sense of peace. They named her Nnenna, believing she was the reincarnation of Mr. Nwafo's dear mother, Ojiugo, who had passed away just months before. They believed that Ojiugo had returned in the form of Nnenna and endeared the little girl deeply to her parents. Nnenna was the fifth child of Mazi and Mrs. Nwafọ, and her mother was overjoyed to have birthed a beautiful daughter. She envisioned a bright future, where suitors would flock to their home vying for Nnenna's hand in marriage, and she would proudly select the best among them. But she had not reckoned with the mysterious forces at play. Months passed, and Mrs. Nwafọ began to notice something unsettling about her daughter. Nnenna was not developing as she should. Concerned, she started taking Nnenna from one spiritualist to another, seeking protection from any malevolent forces that might be targeting her only daughter. By Nnenna's second birthday, the child still struggled to walk and stand, always appearing weak and fatigued. Unlike other children her age, Nnenna was frail and pale. Her once thick hair now sparse and brownish, like that of an elderly woman. Her eyes, whitish gray, seemed sunken into her skull, and her stomach began to swell, making her look like a child far advanced in pregnancy. Whispers and gossip spread through the village, with many believing that Mazi Nwafọ and his wife were being punished for some unknown wickedness. Nnenna was labeled a witch, and pregnant women in the village avoided her, fearing she would curse their unborn children. Mrs. Nwafo's heart broke under the weight of her daughter's suffering and the community's scorn. Desperate, she took Nnenna to traditional healers, diviners, and native doctors, all of whom demanded sacrifices to appease the gods. One day, Mrs. Nwafọ managed to save enough money to consult the most powerful native doctor in the village. The child is cursed, the native doctor declared. If you want her to live, you must perform the necessary sacrifices. On an Eke market day, the native doctor came to their home and dug a hole in the compound, burying Nnenna with only her head above ground. For nearly an hour, the native doctor performed his rituals, chanting and pleading with the gods to heal the child. Nnenna was finally dug out and battered with a concoction. After 3 market days, the native doctor returned to their home. This time, he set up a burning fire, covering the child with spiritual oil. Nnenna's father and the native doctor lifted her frail naked body by both hands and legs, swinging her over the thick smoke from the burning fire. This they did several times. After each ritual, the native doctor assured Nnenna's parents that she would recover. On the following Nkwo market day, Nnenna's father took a calabash filled with ritual items, among which were alligator pepper, nzu, kola nut, a 50 kobo coin, a week-old chick, and some sweets and biscuits, to a 4-corner road before dawn, and left it there as instructed by the native doctor. Nnenna's mother, hopeful, prepared a feast of rice, sweets, and drinks, gathering the village children for a celebration of Nnenna's supposed healing, happy that finally her enemies would bury their heads in shame. But Nnenna did not improve. Instead, she worsened. Her limbs grew so thin that her wrists could be encircled by a single finger, while her legs struggled to carry her swollen belly. She wandered the village, feeding on clay soil and nzu, leaving holes in mud walls wherever she went. The villagers dread her coming near their mud houses because she would leave holes as she scraped to eat. Her heart beat with such force that it was visible through her frail body. She struggled to reach her 10th birthday. When Mrs. Nwafor learned that a team of English doctors had arrived in the village for a medical outreach, she hurriedly took Nnenna to see them. The doctors diagnosed Nnenna with sickle cell disease, explaining that her condition was a genetic illness with no cure, not the result of witchcraft or a curse. They educated Mrs. Nwafor on how to care for Nnenna and provided her with medications to manage her symptoms. Unfortunately, Nnenna's condition deteriorated. A few months after her 11th birthday, she fell gravely ill and, lacking the strength to continue, passed away. Nnenna died.